What's going on, guys? This is going to be the first video in part 2 of kind of intro to night vision. Part 2 is going to be mainly about kind of accessories that you're going to need once you actually secure some sort of night vision device. So today we're going to be talking about kind of the helmet borne stuff, while the next part of this video is going to be kind of your lasers, optics, mounts, lights, all that stuff. So today is going to be just helmet stuff, so we'll dive right into it, starting with your mount. All right, so before I kind of go on a talk about different mounting solutions for night vision, I do want to say there are things like skull crusher mounts, and those do have a place, but for my sake, running duals, I kind of went with a helmet as opposed to a skull crusher. But skull crushers are also an option. A lot of them nowadays still require some sort of mount. They aren't a pre-built solution. Getting right into it here, this is a Wilcox L4 G24. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this. Push button, flip down. Neurodos has options. Wilcox has other options like L4 G11s, G26s, G80s, I believe even. And basically the differences between all of those is going to be your back plate, and Wilcox just rolled out the extended arm on all of their G24s. So this is an older one. It does have the shorter arm, but all new G24s are coming with an extended arm to give you a little bit more clearance and whatnot. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but main difference between all of your Wilcox mounts are going to be your rear plate here. Some of them have built-in shrouds on the plate, so they're non-removable. This being the L4 G24, it does have a rear kind of standardized mount that will interface with 99.9% of your VAS shrouds, which we'll talk about right now. All right, so you got yourself a mount, you got yourself your goggles, and now you need something to put these on. That is where, on most cases, modern day helmets are going to come with a shroud, either pre-installed or with the helmet. Definitely recommend getting something that's reputable, like a 3-hole shroud that is going to be secure from a good dealer. Don't get any cheap knockoff ones or X, Y, and Z. Just get a good 3-hole shroud if your helmet doesn't have one pre-installed on it or pre-molded into the helmet. I will say with some bump helmets I have seen on the market where the shroud is pre-molded into the helmet, I have seen this area give way on those, so just be aware of that if you're looking at a bump helmet. I know OpsCore's bump helmets with the circle cuts, I can't remember exactly the terminology for that helmet, do come with a bolted on shroud. So make sure this is a good quality material if you're getting a aftermarket shroud or you're adding one to your helmet. I recommend the OpsCore stuff. This is the older skeleton shroud, so just make sure you have a secure and reputable shroud on your helmet before you go hanging this much money off the front of your face. So moving from there, we'll go into kind of strobes and lights and stuff, and just do a quick rundown on those and what you might want to look into once you get your first set of nods. Alright, so you got your mount, your shroud. If it didn't already come with your helmet, you got your nods. Next thing I would focus on when getting into night vision after you get your first device is getting some sort of light on your helmet and a strobe. Those are going to be very crucial if you want to do anything with anybody under night vision. Being able to identify yourself and make yourself kind of known to other people, just so you don't get hurt or you get lost or something and you don't have your leash on. Strobes and surefire lights or helmet mounted Princeton Techs and stuff like that are going to be very important once you start getting into night vision. So most of you guys know this is my Surefire and SNS Max setup here on the side. Very good for white light identification, IR light, any of that stuff works really good. Like you guys know, it is on a pivot, so you can move it around and kind of adjust it to what you need. I still think this is one of the best low pro kind of all-in-one mounts on the market for the Surefire stuff and the OpsCore stuff. I'm not sure if they make this for Team Wendy rails, but this is kind of an OpsCore exclusive one, unless, like I said, they do make a Team Wendy shoe that will slide onto the Team Wendy rails. But OpsCore guys, this is definitely good to go. Very low profile, doesn't add much weight to your helmet, and you get kind of the Surefire beam pattern out of this. Any Surefire head or Surefire compatible head will fit on this, so this is kind of very versatile, will work very well. It is very expensive, but it is a lot more low pro than some of the other options I've seen on the market. On the back here, most of you know this is the Manta strobe that I use. Now this one is the MS15, so it has green, white, IR, and then a high and low setting. So a few different options there, but mainly just for making yourself known to anyone else around you with night vision. It's kind of a safety thing and an identification thing. So this isn't very necessary unless you're going to be doing stuff with other people under night vision, like shooting, taking a class. I do know a lot of classes require strobes or some way to identify yourself just to keep everyone safe. So if you plan on doing that, definitely look into a Manta or a Hellstar or even an older MS2000. Doesn't really matter, but some way to kind of identify yourself is going to be huge when working under night vision once you get it. And it looks cool under night vision, seeing the strobes and all that cool stuff, but whatever. So strobe, not really necessary, but definitely something to consider at some point if you plan on taking night vision seriously. All right, so you got the mount, the light, the nods, the strobe, all that good stuff. Now my next personal recommendation would be some sort of IR reflectors on some places on your helmet, just as another level to kind of identify yourself, because again, safety is very big when you're taking classes under night vision or doing anything under night vision. So these are kind of freebies. I mean, you guys probably have a million IR flags and IR tapes laying around the house, so this isn't really too important, but I know some people will ask the question. These are just standard, I believe they're North American Rescue infrared flag patches, and on the back here I have a Microbat System circle cut IR tape and then a kind of standard issue surplus square cut tape here on the back. All these do is if someone hits me with IR light, they'll kind of reflect and shine and say, hey, I'm there in case my strobe goes down or whatever. So not really necessary in my book, but definitely something good to have, and they are pretty cheap nowadays. So, all right, before we move on to counterweights, I did kind of breeze over this and completely forget it. This clip's actually being filmed after while I was editing the video. I was like, oh crap, I forgot. But anyway, a good lanyard or some sort of retention for your night vision itself is going to be absolutely crucial. For me, when I had a PVS 14, I was like, I'm not using a lanyard, that's stupid, and I dropped it on the floor like 8 times, and it was not a fun time getting it fixed. But use a lanyard. This one is from Microbat Systems. Again, they make some pretty killer stuff. No, I am not sponsored by them, so don't go saying, oh, he told us to come here because he's sponsored. I'm not sponsored by him at all. He's a good guy. I've talked to him a little bit, but getting some sort of lanyard system for your night vision is going to be crucial in case that a mount fails or something fails. It just gives you that extra level of security. For me, I like the Microbat one. You can build it how you want it. As you can see here, it fits perfect. You get very nice hardware with it. No complaints there. So definitely pick up a lanyard or make your own. It is going to be crucial. I don't want to hear I dropped my nods because you didn't tell me to get a lanyard. I told you so. Get one. They're cheap and they will save you a lot of money in the long run in the event something breaks. All right, so this is kind of the next area of discussion. It's going to be counterweights. Why these are important is because you want to kind of eliminate any neck strain you might be getting with night vision, because you are adding a lot of weight to the top of your head with goggles. Not so much with PVS 14s. I personally didn't run any counterweights with my PVS 14. My helmet was set up in a way at the time where I could get away with no counterweight because it's not as heavy as some of your duals on the market. Now, for me personally, being a lefty, I do run my helmet with no chin strap, so I'll leave this unbuckled just because I can never find left-handed buckles and stuff in stock, and you know, I really don't feel like wasting the money on a left-hand specific helmet liner system. It's really not worth my time, so I just leave it unbuckled and my helmet sits just fine with the Peltors and the actual retention system. So counterweights were never really a big deal to me until I got into duals. They're very important in keeping your neck safe and keeping any neck-borne injuries kind of away, because like I said, you're adding a lot of weight onto the front of your head and constantly dragging the front of your head down over long periods of time. I mean, it can cause some problems later on down the road, and nobody wants that. So for me personally, I like the Microbat stuff. I'm not sponsored by them. I just find their pouches to be very nice, really well thought out and stuff, and very low profile. As you can see here, this one is pretty low pro. I did do a video on this guy, I believe. I will put a card up somewhere if I remember. But all this guy uses are very simple fishing weights, I believe, that he has strung together inside of these little tubes. Make a joke down in the comments if you're thinking what I'm thinking, but if not, just leave it alone. But you get a couple of these different strands of lead fishing weights, all heat shrink together and stuff. Super nice. You can add them and remove them as you see fit. I will say this pouch is kind of tiny, so you're kind of limited on the overall amount of weight you can put in here, but you get exactly one full pouch of weights with this. So you'll get this, and I believe 5 of those weights that I showed you, and they fit perfectly in here. And I noticed that all 5 are perfect with or without the PVS 15s on the front of my helmet. So definitely look into Counterweights, Microbat Systems, like I said, for something like this guy. EOG makes them, I believe, and a bajillion other people, TNVC, pretty much everyone under the sun makes a counterweight. So definitely look into counterweights shortly after getting night vision if you plan on wearing them for long periods of time on end. Like always, if you guys made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support. If you could like and subscribe, it really helps my videos get out there, reach new people, maybe help some people out that might have had questions or not known some of this stuff when getting into night vision. So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.